The movie begins with a police officer walking into a small cafe. He's out doing his usual patrol and stops to get a hot cup of coffee because it's raining hard outside. When he enters the cafe, he quickly notices that the place feels cold and unfriendly. The workers and customers are tense and don't seem happy to see him. On the TV, there's a news report showing riots and protests happening all over the city. People in the community are angry and are blaming the police and city leaders for all the chaos. The officer can feel that no one wants him there. An older man named Pops, who works at the cafe, even refuses to take his money and clearly wants him to leave. After this failed stop at the cafe, the officer gets back in his car and continues his patrol. While he's driving, he sees a van that looks suspicious. He turns on his siren and calls the control room to tell them what he's doing. Both his dash camera and his body camera are turned on and recording everything. As he walks toward the van, he notices something scary, a blood-stained handkerchief hanging near the window. A woman slowly steps out of the van. Then, out of nowhere, a loud scream is heard, and in just a second, the officer is thrown high into the air. Right after this shocking scene, the movie jumps back to 12 hours earlier. Now we see Officer Renee, who also works at the same police department. She's sitting in her boss's office because she was suspended for a few months. She had gone through a very sad time after her young son died. During that period, she lost control during an arrest and hit a suspect who had shouted racist words at her. Her supervisor gently asks her if she is mentally and emotionally ready to come back to work. Renee says she is ready, so she is given night duty. Her boss feels sorry for her and says the watch commander will make sure she gets a good partner. When Renee walks in the police briefing room, she finds out that she will be working with a new officer named Danny. Her fellow officers are happy to see her back, but Renee doesn't feel excited to be paired with someone so new. As their shift starts, they drive around the city on patrol. Soon, they see a small boy sitting alone on the sidewalk. Renee turns on her body camera and gets out of the car to check on him. But just then, some people nearby start yelling at her angrily. Their reaction shows that they don't trust the police at all. Renee stays calm and explains that they just want to help because the child is sitting there alone. Things settle down, and Renee gets back into the car with Danny. She thinks quietly about how angry and scared people in the neighborhood have become. As they keep driving, Renee and Danny see a police car parked in a lonely, quiet area. They stop to check it out. Renee gets back in her own car, takes out her laptop, and connects it to the dash cam to see what happened to the missing officer. She's shocked by what she sees. It's Officer Kevin, the same one from the cafe earlier and also one of her close friends. The video shows him pulling over a green van with no license plate. A woman steps out of the van, and suddenly Kevin is thrown into the air and lands on the front of his car. Then the video cuts off. Renee is clearly upset by what she saw. Danny notices that she's shaken as he returns to their car. They begin searching the area and soon find Kevin's dead body. He is covered in blood. More officers are called to the scene. When Sergeant Casper arrives, Renee tells her that Kevin had stopped a green Chevy van with no license plates. She says she saw the whole thing on the dashcam video. But Sergeant Casper says there was no video found at all. The dashcam and body camera were completely destroyed and didn't have any footage. The tech team says the same thing. Even though Renee insists she saw it and clearly remembers the woman in the green jacket, no one believes her. Later that day, Renee goes home earlier than expected, and her husband is surprised to see her. She tells him something terrible happened to Kevin and that she's going to figure out what really happened. That night, Renee has a frightening dream about her son drowning, mixed with images from the dashcam footage she saw. As she remembers the video, she notices that the woman who attacked Kevin had a cross symbol on her clothes. Then, while watching old home videos of her son, she sees the same cross symbol. It's the logo of the hospital where her son was born. Renee starts to feel suspicious and decides she needs to look into it more. She tells Danny what she found, and they visit a place that is connected to the hospital and the woman in the green coat. Sergeant Casper is told again that Kevin had stopped a green Chevy van without plates. More officers are sent to find it. 2 of them come across the van and decide to surround it. They call the control room and slowly move in. They see the woman in the green hooded coat. They pull out their guns and tell her to show what she's holding. Suddenly, one of the officers fires his weapon. In that moment, a dark, shadowy figure suddenly appears and starts attacking. It kills both officers and everyone else nearby. At the same time, Renee gets a message about the incident and quickly leaves with Danny to check out a nearby store where the van has been seen. They first look at the van, then go inside the store, but when they enter, they find everyone inside is already dead. Renee tries to find security footage to understand what happened, but by the time Danny arrives, the footage is mysteriously gone. Even when the tech team looks into it later, there's no sign that any video was ever there. Renee is questioned by investigators about what she saw. She explains that the van has been missing for months and is registered to a local church. She also says that the men who were found dead are the ones who attacked Kevin while trying to rob the van. However, Renee privately tells Danny that she doesn't believe these men were really Kevin's killers. She knows no one will believe her, so she secretly takes one of the robbers' phones because it looks like he was recording the robbery. Danny doesn't like that she's hiding the phone and warns her that she's getting too caught up in this, maybe because of her grief over losing her son. He tells her she needs to let it go and stop chasing ghosts. Renee ignores him and walks away. The next day, Renee goes to the morgue. Using her connections, she's able to see the bodies of the dead men. The technician tells her he has seen many badly damaged bodies, but nothing like these. Renee asks to be left alone with the bodies. She manages to unlock the phone using one of the dead man's fingerprints and looks through it. She finds a video, but it's confusing. However, she catches a quick glimpse of the same shadowy figure she saw earlier. When she tries to play the video on a bigger screen, the clip disappears without warning, and it shocks her again. Determined to find answers, Renee starts looking into the woman she saw earlier, who she now thinks might be a nurse. The next day, she goes to the police office and asks another officer, Penn, about an old case involving a boy named DeMarco BR. The son of Nurse Tanisha BR. Penn tells her that the case didn't lead anywhere and seemed unimportant. That night, Renee can't sleep. Her husband tells her she won't find peace until she uncovers the full truth. In the morning, Renee goes to the office and finds the address of the church that owns the green van. She visits the church and asks the priest if he reported the van stolen. She tells him she knows the real story, that he lent it to Tanisha. She warns him that lying to the police and hiding information could be a crime. The priest finally agrees to talk and leads her to a room that once belonged to DeMarco. He tells Renee that DeMarco was doing community service when he was killed in a terrible accident. Renee writes down Tanisha's address and leaves. Renee visits Tanisha's old, rundown house and finds disturbing drawings and pictures. She sees photos of Tanisha and various police officers, along with a picture of DeMarco covered in black scribbles that look like fire. Suddenly, a shadowy figure attacks her, but she manages to escape unharmed. Renee calls Danny and asks for help in finding Tanisha and following these new leads. He promises to meet her in an hour. When Danny doesn't show up, Renee goes to his house. To her shock, she finds Danny dead in the shower. He has taken his own life. He left behind a USB drive for Renee. After watching the contents of the drive, Renee finally understands what's been going on. DeMarco, the nurse's son, was accidentally shot and killed by police officers during a community service assignment. He was deaf and couldn't hear their commands. Instead of admitting their mistake, the officers worked together to cover up what happened. Renee feels overwhelmed with emotion as she watches the full footage from the body camera, showing the unjust killing of DeMarco. Once she calms down, Renee sets up a meeting with Sergeant Kessler to share her latest discovery. She tells him that Danny is dead and had been hiding important evidence. She gives him her location and asks him to meet her there. Renee then goes to Tanisha's house and calls out her name, telling her that she understands what really happened to DeMarco. Not long after, Kessler arrives and asks Renee what proof she has. She tells him she has a body cam recording of DeMarco's death, explaining that this is the event that started all the protests and violence across the city. But Kessler isn't alone. He has brought other officers who were part of the cover-up. Renee realizes too late that he's involved as well. Kessler confirms her suspicion when he grabs her and forces her into a warehouse. Inside, he threatens her, saying that the footage could ruin the department's reputation even more. He demands to know where Danny hid the copy of the video. Renee tells him Danny is gone and that she has the video now. Kessler immediately pulls out his gun and shoots at her. Luckily, before he can hurt her, Tanisha appears, and with her comes the eerie, shadowy figure. Everyone in the warehouse is filled with panic. As Kessler tries to hide his face, the dark figure comes back and kills him. Tanisha tells Renee that the shadowy creature is DeMarco himself. She says she no longer has control over him and must leave. Meanwhile, Pendleton runs in fear but is eventually caught. This time, Renee can clearly see the mysterious figure. Emergency responders arrive at the scene, and Kessler's body is taken to the hospital. The movie ends with a voiceover telling us that Kessler was deeply involved in the department's corruption and played a major role in the conspiracy to kill DeMarco and cover up the truth.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.